Thanks for joining us Behind the Frontline, a podcast providing timeless solutions to everyday workforce and workplace challenges. Frontline Training Solutions is an express employment professionals company, strategically placed between the workplace and the workforce with professionals standing by, ready to combat your unique challenges. Learn more about what we do at frontlineon.com. Thanks for tuning in to this special segment of Behind the Frontline, where we went to Denver, Colorado to the Express Employment Professionals International Leadership Conference, and we sat down with some of the top staffing leaders around the country and asked them questions about what challenges they are seeing in the workplace and the workforce, and their thoughts about how companies can become and stay employers of choice. Like anything you hear and want to know more, contact us at frontlineon.com or reach out to your local Express Employment Professionals near you. So now we're sitting here with the Managing Director of Specialized Recruiting Group and the Franchisee and Director of Operations in Westland Farmington Hills franchises, Adam and Jessica Klug. Did I say that right? Klug?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's awesome. So thanks for joining us. You're the first people on the podcast.
Let's go.
So this is going to be fun.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a little conversation here. We want to know from you the challenges that you're seeing in your local office, your area, and then maybe some of the creative solutions that you've seen to kind of help combat those challenges.
All right. Do you want to start?
Yeah, I'll go on the SRG side. I would say last year, it's different than this year. I think companies are being more price conscious right off the gate. Not really biting at a lot of fees that we're going for that we used to have last year. And I would say it's a challenge for us right now to go out and even get new business or get new clients to work with. So, one thing we're doing to kind of combat that is saying, all right, it's ultimately we want to work with all the best companies and have the best talent, but at the same time, how can we dig down deeper with our current clients that we're working with? How can we spread, that growth wider in our clients and just really focus on the clients that we have now? And then also while, adding to, I guess, my SRG team, adding another salesperson in there, kind of getting more of that, spread of opportunities out there. And then for us, I would say in general too, it's, we're big in direct hire. We did a lot of it last year. We have 2 people on contract right now, but that's the goal as, if the market gets a little bit tighter and like price conscious, okay, where can we put more of those like contract workers in, maybe more of that evaluation to hire? That's going to be a lot bigger market. So we're thinking about that this year as we're kind of combating those challenges where we're not seeing the amount of, really direct hires we're seeing right out of the gate. A little bit slower. It's picking up now, but that's still definitely been a challenge with us. And not only, I would say, working, within our territory, right? We kind of have to open our scope up to say, okay, work with a client in, let's say, Westland, but they have a staff accountant in Dallas, Texas. It's a really good client. All right, do we take the time out of, my team's time to go work on a position out of state? Is it worth it? Is it worth the right client? And kind of being, more open to that, more strategic as we go about it. So it's gonna be a year, I would say. How about you, Jess?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I would say for our side, we've seen definitely since the end of beginning of fourth quarter last year, we've definitely seen a decrease in a lot of the light industrial, skilled trades, and even office service, positions. So when we were actually on the owner's call, you were on that one. When I think Paul was talking about where our numbers are and stuff, and I was really just thinking about how bad the quality of candidates have been. The quantity of candidates, of applicants have definitely increased, but the quality has been definitely decreasing. So I went and I Googled really quick just Michigan unemployment rate, and since the beginning of fourth quarter, it has just been significantly increasing since that time frame. You'd have to probably fact check me on that one, but we've definitely seen that. So it's definitely making sure that we're really keeping true to our 10-step process to make sure that we're having the higher quality, the top echelon of that. Of the talent available in the market.
Right.
And I think that we beat our competitors out that way naturally. It's just that process. But I would say what we've been really trying to do, because automotive definitely tanked for us, just because they've been on a weird hiatus with the electrical vehicles and the demand and the supply issues just been really wonky.
And the strike with the unions
And
back in the fall. We never really recovered from that, it felt like.
100%. And then now our associates that were on assignment right before then have now been laid off because of the strike, and then because of the holidays, and then because there's no demand because of the electrical vehicles. So we've been seeing so many issues on the tier 2, 3 suppliers. That's mostly where we are servicing. So we've been really trying to, in this pause time, since all of our companies are really trying to hire on early, that's been the biggest trend that we've been seeing, is that they've been, hiring on early. So we are trying to diversify our portfolio and go outside of the niches we've really ever done before. So we're really establishing in construction, since we have that on the SRG side. So like carpenters, drywalls, which kind of can, a line in the sand can be drawn for like skilled trades. But there's random, general labor positions that we've been able to get as well. So it's funny because we were always wanting to get rid of these purple squirrel job orders, but it seems like those are the ones that we are having to go after. And even our current clients, I'd say how we're combating it is offering like non-traditional roles, like part-time or flex time, or, just not a typical 8 to 5. Like we're just trying to really work think outside of the box for them, just so that we can, so it's not so much of a cost burden for them for full time, and how can we make it work because they still need someone, and we've got plenty of people waiting in the pool, ready to work. So that's kind of what we've been seeing.
Well, it sounds real similar to what we're hearing from other owners and other express offices too. Definitely that pulse of that post-COVID hiring craze has simmered down, and now it feels a little bit more like we're back in 2019, where it's like, oh, we've got to go out there and sell, and we've got to still recruit, and it's just a little bit different. So
I know. As
you're actually talking to employers, talking to your clients, talking to prospects, what are you hearing? What are the challenges that they're facing? What are they talking about every day?
I would say, a lot of it is what I hear on my end. It's saying, oh, no, we're going to handle this internally. We threw up a job posting, and we're going to see what's going to come to us first. And then, okay, if we can't find someone, all right, then we'll use you guys after the fact. And so it's really on the front end educating our clients, saying, okay, there's only a small talent pool that actually goes out and applies to these, positions, right? You're missing out on, sometimes 70, 80% of the talent pool, by not either having a pipeline of people that you're going after, actively recruiting for the passive talent. What are you doing going out there, not only, hiring out of like starvation or desperation just to get the position filled with a body, but are you actually, finding the right fit? And that's not only like, I always break it down in like tools, talent, personality. So tools could be the raw experience, right? They have experience with Excel or some experience with a software experience. And then the talent is, okay, now that you have that experience with that software, what can you do with it? And the personality is not only the personality for the person, but what's going to be a culture add, a culture and a value fit at the end of the day to keep that retention high. Because now, if they're throwing out a posting and seeing that, okay, they're hiring someone in, and the next 3-6 months later, they're like, oh, we need to go backfill this position. It's that recurring cycle. So I think it's a lot of, right now, it's, education on like just what the job market looks like. And just using the postings, just, as a small example of that. But that's what we're hearing a lot too. It's like, oh no, we got it. We're doing it on our own. We're fine. And we can throw it out there and see who we get. But in actuality, like, are they valuing what we do, all the time that we take, all the interviewing prep, and everything that we can offer, find the right person. So that eventually helps with not only building the right team, but the retention at the end of the day, and just retaining the people that they have.
And I would actually say on the light industrial side as well, that because of COVID and the massive turnaround that they were having with light industrial associates, they're in for training for a week and then they're gone. And so there were a lot of metrics put on our HR specialists or HR generalists on retention post COVID, and so they've been had this metric on them. But now we're still having issues with associates being entitled and thinking like, oh, I don't need to show up on time. Like what? So they're not necessarily doing that, but they're kind of like, all right, do we get rid of this person, but then my retention rate goes down, my percentage, and then, or do I, keep a good workforce that actually wants to, because I could definitely replace this person, but do you want to still have that, or do you want to keep a good culture so it's not so trigger, you're out of here, you're fired, so it's kind of, I know that they're really trying to figure out how to balance that combating, and even with pay rates, I know that associates still think that they are worth a lot more money than what they are probably should be valued at. And so it's kind of, they're asking for the pay raises, but it's more, we've been just trying to tell them and educate them that, like, listen, the pay rates have definitely settled, if not kind of gone a little backwards, but just definitely settled. So you should not be asking for $19 if you're really only worth like $15, $16 an hour. So it's just kind of, it's educating the HR team to say, hey, the market is not saying that you have to give them these raises. So it's kind of combating the entitlement of their employees, but then also the retention rate with reliability, because I know transportation's just been it's Michigan, right? So the cars and stuff. So.
I mean, that's still people showing up to interviews, even on the professional side. You can tee up everything, prep a person, talk with them every day that week, get them all the information, the prep interview guide and all that. And at the end of the day, it's up to that, that person, right? I always say people are the most spiritual product in the world. It's the only type of product that can change your mind at any second in the process. Right. And to try to make that predictable, I mean, that's not only a challenge on our side, but it's a challenge on the employer side, just having people just show up to interviews and then having a good, even performance reviews, 30, 60, 90 day on the company side, just to make sure it's like, hey, is this person still working out? Or, hey, they're reaching back out to us saying, hey, we need another person. We're like, wait. What happened? They just can't be done after 60 days. What's going on? So
that retention, big challenge for employers over the last couple of years, and still is a challenge. And it's weird. We're in this dynamic right now where it feels like the market, it's like in the process of shifting, where it's been very job seeker friendly. It was a job seekers market, but now we're getting to the point where there are less quantity of job openings available for job seekers. But the unemployment rate still is fairly low. There still isn't an abundance of very highly skilled or highly qualified candidates. So it's this weird conundrum that a lot of employers are in. Yeah. And at the same time, they're still struggling with retention. That still is a top challenge. So
we've definitely seen, even on the light industrial skilled trades and office services, is that they are still trying to put up more, I don't want to say roadblocks, but definitely more stages in the interview process. They're more than before. I think before they trusted us, and I don't think the trust went away, but I think that time is now on their side, since it's not so much of a, I needed someone yesterday. It's more of like, oh, we're looking for someone. Right. Do you have someone? And, we obviously want to give, our sense of urgency is definitely important for us, but they're kind of lackadaisical, taking their time. And so I can see that that's kind of if we are going to add someone, it's not at a rush. It just would be to, maybe help with the current workload. And
well, that's what we're seeing too, in terms of the hiring that we're seeing employers do. For the last couple of years, it was, hey, we're hiring because we're adding a whole second shift, or we just added 10,000 square feet more and we need another 20 people. Whereas now the hiring we're seeing is just replacing people.
Yes.
One person here, one person there, someone retired, someone left. So it's a different sort of quantity which gives them, I think, the freedom to slow down a little bit, which isn't always bad. I think at first on the recruiting side, it's like, man, I wish we didn't have to jump through all these hoops. But maybe it helps on the retention side in the long term, hopefully. But it's definitely shifting.
And it's always, one thing, it doesn't really make a big change, but it always gives, businesses, I think a second thought is like, anytime there's a presidential election, right? They want to make decisions on after that election happens and how their business is going to be impacted. So not to go down that rabbit hole, but that's something that I hear a lot from employers, like, oh, we're just going to wait it out, see what happens now, and then we'll start ramping up, at the end of the year, next year type of thing.
Whenever there's uncertainty, right? Uncertainty is never good, right? Because then people wait on the sidelines. So what about, other than really recruitment-focused things, what other challenges are your clients facing? What are you hearing from them as you're talking to them? What's keeping them up at night?
I would say a big emphasis has been on training and development, right? And so we've seen a lot more of those, like training, development, learning, kind of those positions pop up, or even like DEI positions pop up as well too. And so companies, I think, are more aware of that, or they're now getting more in tune of saying, okay, we can't just hire a person in. All right, we need to even if they have all the skills and experience, we still need to train them up in a way and have a dedicated either person for it, someone maybe outside of HR, inside of HR. But that's been a huge thing that, my team has ran into, is saying, okay, we're hiring these great people, then somehow they fall off. Okay,
Right.
now the company's kind of looking introspective, saying, okay, what can we do to keep people here? What either, not from even training, but what other perks can we offer? Like a limited PTO, we've seen a lot. And what does that mean to companies? Or hybrid schedules, that's still out there, but it's not as prevalent as it was maybe coming like from COVID and out of COVID. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of companies be in a stalemate almost, like production-wise. They're not producing as much, or they're waiting on different budget. I mean, I think a lot of it is budget related, and as we were talking, politically about, the uncertainty and how they just want to wait around until they know what's going on. So we're seeing a lot of that, like we'll call in and they're all just like, oh, I don't have anything going on, or like, yeah, it's really slow. And I think it's, again, I don't know if it's because of COVID, they were so used to going 1,000 miles an hour, and now they're like, what's this?
Yeah.
Like,
Are they
I have
slow
free
or are they just
time?
back to normal?
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think they know which one they are in. But but it seems like they're waiting on projects for if their corporate is somewhere else, like out of state, or especially if it's international. They're just kind of in a long waiting game, I think, because of, are they going to probably pivot to a different kind of market, or are they developing new product lines like R&D? I think they're taking a lot of time to do the R&D right now. Mm-hmm. So it's just kind of, they're just kind of in a stalemate, and then they're just kind of like, I don't know what's going on. And so it's almost like they're uncertain
just wait
about
it out.
Yeah, a lot of that right now. So it's I don't know. That's kind of, I'd see that their struggle is what I'd say. It's been, just calling in, there's no updates. The update is there is no updates. So
So wait and see. Wait and see what happens.
Yeah,
right?
which is so totally different from what COVID was. So
Yeah.
it's an adjustment for sure.
yeah, because you either have, you work a lot like with HR, I work a lot with like C-level executives, and sometimes I see, that HR person, for better or worse, they're their strategic partner or they're the function of the company, right? Mm-hmm. And so how does that company view, or that top level leadership view that HR person, right, to take on those tasks? And ultimately, we're the human element, right? Mm-hmm. So that's going to affect everything that we do, and that everything that comes down, that we're tasked to do from our clients. So.
Yeah. That's an interesting point you bring up, Adam. That's something we've seen a lot over COVID, and we actually at Frontline have done some webinars on how to elevate that HR seat so that you have a seat at the executive table, because really through a lot of the the talent shortage right now, it's a little different, but long term we know there's going to be a talent shortage, and employers have to have that workforce planning, that HR at that strategic executive level, really to be sustainable for the future. So it's cool that you're seeing that. But and then we also see those HR leaders where they don't have that seat at the table, and they're getting frustrated, and then they're moving on to somewhere else where they can have that seat at the table.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. We see a lot of turn sometimes in the HR generalist or like senior HR generalist roles, which sometimes we're the main point of contacts for them. And then when that person leaves, we're like, oh crap, we got to establish a new point of contact right now, and almost kind of redo the cycle over and over again. So
getting in wider and deeper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely.
All right. Well, thank you guys both so much. And if you're a company and any of these pain points and challenges resonate with you, we want to talk to you at Frontline Training Solutions, because we can help do an intake with you and trying to identify the challenges that are plaguing your company the most. So thank you guys so much for your insight.
Yeah.
And it was a pleasure talking with you.
Thanks for having us on.
Thank
Talk
you.
with Nic. That's my plug.
All right.
Thank you.
Cool.
All right.
Thanks, guys.